Hello everyone, today I'm looking at Resident Evil Revelations. This game is really kind of weird for me. I mean, especially after Resident Evil 5, I don't know what Resident Evil as a franchise was doing. They're doing all these spin-off games, and 6 was kind of a total disaster, and Revelations, as I understand it, was actually a Nintendo DS game that was like HD'd and ported over to higher scale consoles. And it's kind of easy to see why. This game is like, it doesn't do a lot for its story, but it does do a lot in terms of gameplay mechanics. It's the typical kind of Resi 5 kind of template, but it's a lot faster, and the theme is kind of ocean and seafaring, at least for the opening part of it. So there's a lot of weird mollusk-esque, enemies, a lot of weird kind of oozy kind of guys who like come out of the vents and stuff. What really blew me away, though, I mean, right off the bat, about this game is the mercenaries mode, or the horde mode, or whatever it's called, because it is honestly one of the most addicting modes I have ever played. More than mercenaries in 4 or 5 or anything, the mercenary mode in this game is ridiculously addictive. Mainly because, I mean, it does the same thing that Resi 5 did, where, you do a level, you go to the next level, it scales, and, eventually once you defeat all the levels, of which there are 15, you go back to level 1, but now there's different enemies in there, there's a different challenge. And so they just added one thing to make this mode slightly better. And so what it is now is you don't have... you just have to kill all the enemies on the map, and then you'll win, and sometimes there's a boss or something. And they'll have these weird modifiers where, like, you'll have, like, a boss, but it's super tiny and super fast. Like, this is... Once you get to, like, the 4th iteration of a level, they just start doing crazy, insane things where this giant, like, mollusk thing is super tiny, like Sonic the Hedgehog, like, running at you. And it's super, super goofy, honestly. But I really loved it. But really, again, what really kept me going is the fact that they added upgrades and these kind of loadouts. So as you went through the level, you would basically get loadouts that like made you pistol reload faster or shotgun damage increase. And there were these little kind of like parts essentially that you could attach to each loadout for each character or a certain gun. And so in that concept, it's like, well, in Resi 5, it's like, I'm going to keep fighting the same level with the same gear, and it's going to keep grinding at it, and it's never going to get better. But when you know that each level is going to drop you gear that is going to give you the edge you need to beat the next level, that keeps you going in an infinite loop. And so I put like way more hours into this game than I was expecting. That was just a multiplayer mode, and I don't like really getting deep into multiplayer modes. I really like stories. I really like, music and atmosphere and all that stuff. And so for me to like dive into a single player grind mode with no story is very unusual. And I think it's a testament to how good this mode is. I kind of honestly want it studied, because I don't know why it was so addictive or how addictive it was, but in terms of gameplay, it is one of the most addictive things I've ever experienced. In this game, you still have classic characters like Jill, Chris. You have some new characters like Rachel, who are part of this other faction. And so again, this rich entrepreneur is buying this new virus and trying to release BOWs into the world, and of course the characters trying to stop him. I really actually don't remember a lot from the campaign, except that it starts off at sea, and the whole theme is like by the ocean on this carrier ship. Each enemy, they now have different sort of stumble points where you shoot them, you can shoot them in the head or the arms. But what's really weird now is that if you keep shooting them in the arms, you'll like disable their arms so they can't hit you with it. So it's kind of a new kind of take on the whole genre, which I really enjoy and appreciate. Something that really I thought was funny in this game, though, that confirmed one of my long-running conspiracy theories about Resident Evil is the evil guy's on the intercom, and he's like, "Enter here, all ye enter here ye, but abandon all hope. And essentially, it's a line from the Divine Comedy. And so basically this line from the Divine Comedy, and then like one of the characters, like the nerd tech guy, like yells out, he's quoting Dante. And so it just confirmed my long-running suspicion that the Resident Evil series, or Capcom in general, they seem to have a direct interest in the Divine Comedy. I don't know if like the senior directors or something, or programmers or writers read it in high school or something, but they've always like kind of referenced it in all their games. I mean, besides the obvious one like Devil May Cry, where you literally have Dante and Virgil. You have some of the same themes in Resident Evil, where you go to like in the underworld and the different layers of hell sometimes, and puzzles and whatnot. I don't know. Resident Evil has always been a great series, and maybe doesn't reflect the Divine Comedy as much as other games do, but the same sort of themes appear again and again. But I just thought it was funny that that's how it was confirmed. They literally had a copy of the Divine Comedy, I think, like lying on the shelves of one of the characters or something. But yeah, it's funny. The Mercenaries mode in this game, it basically follows the same kind of slices or certain parts of other parts from the campaign, and narrows it down and puts in ammo, time, and other things like that. Of course, an additional bonus is that each character has a limited loadout, so you can't just equip any weapon. Every character has their own loadout. You also have different versions of characters, so there's like 3 versions of Jill, 3 versions of Chris, who have different loadouts, like heavy weapons and rifles, and then like light weapons and pistols and shotgun, which is surprisingly very useful in this game. If you know what to do, basically, the pistol and shotgun is actually a very great combination, because the pistol is really good for stunning enemies, taking them out, and then doing like a melee attack on them once they're stunned. And with the shotgun, that's kind of like where, the pistol's like a one-on-one kind of confrontation, but when you get surrounded, you switch to the shotgun, and you kind of, take out as many enemies as you can once you're overwhelmed, and then you switch back to the pistol. And of course, the most ammo used for one weapon, you like switch, pick up more ammo, and then switch to the other weapon. I don't know. I really like the gameplay in Revelations. It feels like Resident Evil 5 on steroids or something. It feels like the right thing that should have been Resident Evil 6. It just didn't have a very strong story to go with it. But after recently playing 6, I would 100% say you should probably play Revelations over Resident Evil 6. Like, this is the actual Resident Evil 6 right here, honestly, if you wanted one. Man, it's just so weird what happened to this franchise. But again, I think this is like one of the better ones to play. Also, I'm just thinking the ridiculous costume in this game is Chris Redfield, but he's in like a gay sailor outfit. It's pretty funny, and of course, you get special weapons and a loadout for that outfit. So of course, it's it's supposed to be taken seriously, totally. But yeah, I wish the story was a little bit more memorable, a little bit more, whatever. It's like the same CEO takes over whatever he turns into, the goo monster. You have to defeat the goo monster. You've all done it before. So unfortunately, the story is not really great. But I am telling you, the gameplay in this one, it hasn't really changed much from 5. It's just a little bit faster, but just with the extra added drops and everything from the mercenaries, and like how you get different upgrades and ammo, you can really begin to customize your character really, really well. I think also on a subconscious level, what really works really well is the fact that that the main menu music that once you get out of the mercenaries mode is actually very kind of atmospheric and calming, and it just feels really good to just listen to it every time you kind of get out of combat and you need to just kind of relax again. And he puts you in the mode to like prep you to go back into the battle. So again, I completely 100% recommend the mercenary mode in this game. It's just really, really, really good. Ridiculously good, and I love it, and I hope that everyone gets to experience it one day, because again, this is the closest thing I think you will get to Resident Evil 6. And yeah, with all that being said, I'll see you later, guys. Bye bye.